Hi, it's Tom here from On the Other Hand. Today we're talking all about inspiration. This video is all about inspiration. Make sure you subscribe and click like and comment below about, I don't care. What is inspiration? Let's dig into this. For me, personally, inspiration is when I see something that makes me go, yeah, if I do this and this, I could do that. And that could be my thing. I could make it a new thing. So, for example, I did a parody version of The Lion King, and it was only like one scene. It was going to be the opening scene, and there's no way, as one person with no budget and very little resources, I could make something kind of with as many different creatures and music and all this, all this sort of stuff. So I was like, I'll take it and I'll do it my own thing, and then it's a parody version. It's inspired by The Lion King. And what I ended up doing is I had Serco singing, and then over the top we kind of superimposed faded versions of him and Phil, but with their animal heads, like the West End production. So this is like one of the giraffe heads that I made that was a little hat for Serco. And no one looking at it is going to go, that's the Lion. Well, hopefully people will look at it and go, that's the Lion King that he's taking the piss out of, but it's not so close that it's copying. It's definitely been inspired by. And another kind of example, I think, of this are actually these crows that I love, and these were inspired by Monty Python. I was watching a Monty Python, one of Terry Gilliam's little kind of cartoon, and seeing what he does with photos, how he'll cut out like a mouth and then make it move. This is a direct kind of like, where could I take that idea, move that idea on into a physical thing? And so this is what we've got. We've got the talking crows, which again I love. I just think it's great. But I mean, the kind of connection between Monty Python and those crows is less obvious. But that is what inspired the crows. So I think inspiration, when it hits, doesn't necessarily have to be some original amazing idea. They say there's nothing new under the sun, and I think that's the case. As long as you're building on an idea, I think it's taking something and kind of going, yeah, and it's that extension, it's that moving it forwards, saying, yeah, if I do this, but also this, and growing it and changing it. And I think that's amazing. That's what inspiration is. How do I get inspiration? How can you get inspiration? How can you be inspired? I think that there's an exercise that I did a long time ago, but it was very, very helpful, and it was in comedy writing. And it basically, you take a newspaper and then you have to write a joke about every single article in there. And sometimes it's really easy and sometimes it's really difficult, but you still have to look and find that thing within the article, but kind of really forcing it. And it's that kind of forcing it that I think helps. So for example, I'm just kind of looking around my office and I've seen this box of cat food. So I'm taking this and then extending it and saying, in like my mind, my imagination, I'm going, how could I improve this? How could I make more of it, right? Two things have jumped to mind. One is like I could cut out the mouth and I can make a little moving mouth on it. Or the other thing I could do is just cut out the whole cat's head and just replace that with the puppet one. Like remake the thing but in puppet. I think that would be great. And then I'd also change the name, because I like, I think the name should be kind of different. So instead of Go Cat, it could be Stop Dog. I think it's like complete opposites. Brilliant, Stop Dog. So yeah, if I needed to come up with a dog food, I'd have Stop Dog, and it would have a picture like this, but with a cutout with a dog's mouth in it. I think that'd be great. But again, I've just kind of gone, yeah, what's in the room around me? And I think that's one of the reasons why I like to keep a relatively full and quite messy space. So even though I shoot these in the office, this is what the other side looks like, and yes, all that stuff, and there's all stuff on the desk, and it's all kind of lovely, but it all feeds in. And I think you don't have to look very far for inspiration, as long as you're willing just to work with whatever you've got straight away, you know, and not be fussy, not kind of waiting for inspiration, but you're just taking things and saying, yes, I'm going to use this, and I'm going to twist it, I'm going to move it, I'm going to make it more. So whether that's design or writing or whatever, it's just taking a starting point and going, yeah, what if I did this to it, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this. And the thing is if you twist that 3 or 4 times, you end up so far away from what you started with. That's a glorious, glorious thing. Inspiration or copy? No. So what's copying? When does inspired by become copying? Or when does copying become inspired by? And that's a good question. I think it's when you're copying something, and either it's a very close replica, or you're only changing like 2 or 3% of it. That's copying. I think when you're when you're changing over 50% of the design or the function or whatever of it, that's when it's inspired by. For example, I've got this, and this is a foam knife, kitchen knife that I've made, and this is the colours are slightly off, but it's a foam copy of one in my kitchen, and it is a copy. I've changed the material that's made out of, but actually, like, the colours are pretty close. The shape is more or less the same. It's a copy. That is what I would say. It's not inspired by. I haven't changed anything. So it's that change that separates things from being inspired by to a copy, or being inspired by, or being a copy to being inspired by. However, on the other hand, talk about my crows, because I love my crows. This, I think, so I haven't remade it. That's the other difference, I think. So this is its function is now different. Its original function was to scare other birds away or attract them for shooting purposes. I'm not really sure which. Either way, now its function is as a puppet. So it's talking. So it's different. So you could say that this crow was inspired by the original plastic or Monty Python or whatever you want. But in my mind, this isn't a copy. This is a product that has been inspired by something else and is far enough away from what the original was through function to no longer be a copy. I think really, if I'm ever asking, is what I'm doing a copy or inspired by, I normally know the answer. It's just that I don't like the answer. I wasn't actually in this one that much, but I still get paid the same, right? I'm a union.